So the granny panties in this country, it's a real issue.
What?
There's some big underwear over here. Everything, I was shopping this week, and everything is right above your belly button. No, I'm telling you,
You need new
it's a problem.
granny panties, do you?
Need new granny panties up in here. The country is in a lack of lingerie or underwear or quality undergarments, especially for the ladies. I was just talking to a woman maybe last month. It feels recently, but we were talking about opening. You know, she's talking about, oh, she wants to move to Fiji and talking about business ideas. And I'm like, I don't have time for this, but I really want someone to open up a lingerie store that's like a black building called Secrets or something. And that like,
Wow.
it's just like this like incognito women's space that people can like come and like enjoy. And they actually have quality like undergarments just for women, you know? And
Yeah, I like quality undergarments.
yeah, well, one day maybe you can have like a hush hush for men or something. Secrets and hush hush. I was kidding. But anyway, that's a
Dude,
problem.
nothing like standing in a mall outside of like a lingerie or like a women's whatever store, like clothing store.
Yeah.
Where they just sell like bras and panties. And like you're just like you go in there, some like you see all the dudes like hanging out. You're like, sup, bro?
Do you feel like such a pervert walking in there?
Straight up, yeah. Like a criminal.
Yeah.
Pervert.
Well, that's why I think in Fiji, like, it needs to be
Hardcore
like a black building with like a bouncer in front and just like
wow.
a pretend like secret club. Like,
No,
obviously anyone
but
can
guys
want
to go in to buy lingerie for their girls
that's
sometimes.
fine. They're welcome to do it. I just think it'd be kind of like
They have to walk past the bouncer?
yeah, dude.
Sheesh.
I just feel like
Intimidating.
overseas, there's like, it's too sexual. And I don't think that would fly in this country. Like having like underwear models on like the posters outside the store. I don't think that's going to happen.
So awkward.
Here. So awkward. We're still here in like the granny panty phase. We got to just ease into it.
Yeah. You always like happen to be walking by like the popcorn stall or something like that. Or like the beef jerky stall when you pass the lingerie store. You're like, oh, hey, would you look at that? Beef jerky. Let's go buy some beef jerky, guys. Just so you like, feel like you're not being weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of guys that are like, you couldn't catch me. Like, I'd rather die than go in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you called me in there once. I was like,
yeah.
what's up, guys? You got my police criminal record check here. I'm a good person. Just walking through the store because my wife wants me to go, hey, guys, make eye contact. Keep your space. Don't approach anybody. Yeah.
Just so
Stay away.
So uncomfortable.
Keep my distance.
Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. It's just one of those things that I think is funny. In this country, the women are, you know, a little desperado for some undergarments, and I don't know if the men care, so we'll move on from that. But
Wow.
it's just funny.
How was your week?
The week was pretty good. Boys are just wrapping up school. They're in their last term. Not their last term. They're finished a term. I have no idea actually how the school system works here. Anyway,
It's the end of the first term.
I feel like there's so many school holidays here. I feel like the kids are always out of school. Like just a few weeks ago, they were off.
This is how you know you're old. Is when you start saying the same things your parents always used to say. My parents, classic. My mom. You guys get so much time off school. Oh, when we were kids. Yeah. Okay, my mom doesn't sound like Joe Biden, but like a classic. Like you guys have so many holidays now. When we were kids, like yeah, okay, mom. I don't know. I didn't make up the schedule.
Never do an impersonation of your mom ever again.
Mom.
Just like a big shout out to John's mom. Sorry, Mom, you don't sound like that. John sounds toothless when he's talking about you, but you're definitely not.
Yeah.
And
I sound like, yeah.
You're a lovely lady, so just ignore your child.
Yeah. You do not sound like Joe Biden in the ICU. But yeah, anyways, you start, what you're saying right now is like, I can't believe there's so many holidays for the kids. Like, I remember my parents saying that. Because there's so many holidays. Yeah. It's because parents get so much stuff done when their kids are in school.
Yeah, and we used to have a girl that lived with us. She was nannying for us, and she'd just run around the kids, take them swimming. You know, because John and I are always working, and that was great. We don't have her with us anymore, so the kids are a little less supervised.
Yeah,
Luckily,
she kind of went MIA on us.
Yeah, that was
Classic.
a hard day. We went to Canada for a month, and we always know
I
that's a
called it.
risk. And you were like, she's not coming back. And then we got back. I thought she was still coming back. I had a lot of hope. And then all of a sudden, just like gone. And I was like, shoot, no, because I really liked her. I thought she was great.
Mm.
So it was a little bit of a hard loss. But it just seems like in Fiji, if people are not like working and you give them too much downtime, it's like kind of like on to the next thing. So I don't know what that is. And I think it's just maybe just like, oh, life happens and I'm going to just keep living the life that I'm living. And like,
Yeah, well, it's a place where if you don't have a job, you can still survive. Because usually, in our experience, like people not coming back to work is because they went back home for a function.
yeah.
Or they went home for Christmas holidays. Or like, we went we went to Canada for a month and she went back home, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, when you realize like you don't need to work to survive, it's like, well, why am I working when I can enjoy time with my family? So it actually makes a lot of sense in my mind. It's just like, it's hard for people like us who rely on people in those roles. And so I think it's actually kind of up to us to like reward them in a way that like makes it better to come to work than to be to be at home, right? Because obviously like the job is not attractive enough. Like it's not worth it.
What?
Like
It's a weird like line for me. Like when we hired anyone to work with the kids, like our children still nap and still do to this day. My kids are great sleepers. And like with anyone in the house, I'd always just be like, yeah, just nap when they nap. I tried not to make it like a crazy hard job. But I think at the same time, maybe I was like too slack. Maybe if you're busier, it'd be more interesting. I don't really know. Like, yeah, we got to figure that out. Not that we have space for anyone in our house right now. We got a full house. So that won't happen. And I don't know if we need it. Like the boys, the nice thing about them is like now I'm confident both of them can swim. That was a big deal to have somebody watching them full time before.
Well, and it's weird like being at home or like having a job where it's in somebody's house.
Totally.
Because like today I was like I almost died because I was at home all day, and it was like, oh yeah,
Why?
that was brutal. I strongly despise being in the house all day. It just feels so unproductive, and like it always just happens to be pretty unproductive. Like today, I was trying to edit a vlog. I was like, okay, I'll edit all day. I'll stay home and I'll just edit. But then we had like none of the footage like on the hard drives, so we had to pull it off all the SD cards from the different like the drone and the cameras and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then getting rid of all of the old footage that I've already processed, turned into vlogs.
Okay.
And then start processing all the new footage in the program.
Sounds really thrilling.
Yeah, well, it took like to go through all the footage. It took until 10 o'clock, and then processing everything took until 2 o'clock.
Oh.
So I wasn't able to start till like 2:30.
So you cleaned the louvers instead.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
That's all right though. Those louvers were getting kind of nasty.
And then by the time I got to editing, I was like dozing off. I was so bored.
Oh, that's the struggle in my life. Like if I'm home all day.
You know what I didn't do today?
What?
I didn't have coffee. No, I did have coffee.
Jonathan's addicted.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Like before Fresh Bean Coffee ever came into existence, I made Jonathan into a coffee addict. Because I love coffee and I've been addicted to coffee since like,
Cool, guys.
I don't know, 2003 at least.
I'm addicted to drugs.
It's called caffeine.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Ugh.
Also,
So disappointing though.
okay, I know everybody else loves pizza. I'm so sick of smelling pizza. The smell of pizza for me, it's not good right now.
Really?
It's too much. Like the dough, everything, like the cheese, even the cheese, like so much cheese on a pizza should be like, yes. And I'm like, nope, I can't even look at it anymore. I've just seen so much pizza. Glad everybody else is enjoying it. I think the feedback's great because I was like, I don't want to smell it
Our pizza
anymore.
oven died today.
Oh.
It's good. It's good. We got a good 2 months out of it. So,
yeah, I could just cry. Like
yeah.
that thing just.
So I got to pick one up and go to town tomorrow, I guess.
Yeah, you got to take the old one back. We'll see what they do. We bought it from Brijlal, and I'm going to shout out to Brijlal. that has been the best customer service
Oh yeah, like I'll go back then and I'll buy another one.
in Fiji,
Yeah.
hands down. It's my only, no, it won't say only, but it is top percent of customer service so far. When I walk in, they know my name. Wow. They always, like, they don't
That's your
stalk,
name?
they don't stalk me in the store. And like they're so helpful. And I
Yeah.
called today and they know me so well in there that I was just like, hey, this is Stephanie. And they're like, oh, how are you? Like,
What did they say? Because we can't find our
I
receipt.
can't find my warranty receipt. So they just said, look, there'll be a $25 fee for us to like go back and track it.
Okay.
I'm like, deal. Because
Deal.
I've been stressing and $25 would allow me to just breathe.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited that they're willing to do that. It might not be the outcome that we'd like.
For real though, Brijlal is the best home appliance and like home outfitting store in Fiji.
And Maxton.
In my opinion.
Maxton is a good brand.
Yeah, so like you have a lot of Chinese knockoff brands in Fiji.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of, basically all of like the brand name stuff that people are familiar with, like LG, Panasonic, Sony, that kind of stuff. And Brijlal carries a brand called Maxton.
Yeah.
Which is like, I'm sure it's made in China, just like everything else is. But Maxton is like the same price as all of your cheap knockoff, has no brand name stuff in other stores.
Pretty good.
But it has way better quality and they actually stand behind it. So like when you have an oven like we have and you want to order like extra trays like or shelving for the oven,
you can get those.
You can actually call them and you can order extras. Like they actually stand behind the product. And so Maxton like is actually one of the things that like we bought that is way like half the price of everything else.
But it lasts.
But it works just as well. Like yeah, it's okay. We have had an issue with our oven in a short amount of time, but they're gonna take care of it.
Yeah.
And so I'll go back and I'll give them my business again.
Just so everybody's aware, this is not like a sponsored video. This is just John and I just trying to figure out what businesses are good, what brands are decent, because we are on a budget. We cannot get top of the line import anything.
Yeah.
So this is what we found is good. And I've had good customer service, not just in Lumbasa, but in Cebu Cebu when I have gone there.
Yeah, like there's option. Like I'll talk, like just so you guys know, it's not sponsored. Like you can get most of the same stuff at Quartz.
Yeah.
And Home and Living, which are all Home and Living, Vinod Patel, and Quartz in Fiji are like a hardware store / like home outfitting, and they have all good stuff. It's way more expensive, but they also carry all brand name stuff.
Yeah.
You have Nirotech, and
Home and Living, which I think is also Vinod Patel.
And then there's another smaller one, but yeah, we just had a really good experience with the customer service at Brijlal.
Yeah, and the quality of the
quality of
brand.
the cheap brand.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy with it. Anyway, that was pretty hard today, but lucky for us, we have one of the staff that we made an agreement. We bought half of an oven for her, so we're able to use her oven in the store as a backup. So we're just using her oven today. Otherwise, we'd have no pizza.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank goodness that was the deal. But yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things like going into having a store in Fiji. We found that we have so much damage from the staff, and it's not that they're, I don't think, neglectful intentionally. I think sometimes when people are busy and stressed, that things start getting damaged more. And so it's interesting to look at it from like the whole entire country's perspective. Like you've gone into different stores and had like the cashier or whoever's doing whatever, they're accountable. Like we had some sort of
like in most stores, if money goes missing and you're the cashier, it comes out of your pay.
Yeah.
If something gets broken or something goes severely wrong, as if you're not the cashier, say, then it comes out of your pay.
And we had someone install like some sort of security system in our truck when we first moved here. So, and then he didn't do it properly or something. I can't remember the situation. Or the aircon, or there was some issue that we had, and the store was wanting the employee to pay for everything.
Right.
And John and I were like, I don't know how we feel about that. So I think we ended up making a deal with the employee and just being like, dude, like, we'll just
I
pay
think
for
yeah,
it.
I think it's just poor leadership basically.
Yeah, but it's interesting. Like, we're trying to find like a good balance between like, well, we can't break things at a high pace at the store
Mm-hmm.
because the store will not be able to pay for itself. But
Yeah.
also, this is a business cost. The part of the problem is a lot of the stuff brought in.
What
Like,
I'm talking about with the staff, I don't know if we're going to do it yet, is implementing, and this is a suggestion that, I mean, anybody can do at their stores. So I just don't feel right about just taking things out of employees' pay. Like if you
no,
break it, like you're here to make money for a business that, you know, we haven't put any money back in our pockets, or we're not, you know, out of the black yet because of all the money that has been
yeah,
put in. But like, I still don't feel right about taking it just straight out of their paycheck. But like another something I thought about a few weeks ago is like you could implement like a profit sharing scheme. So like say your employees split 5% of the profits. So what this would do would encourage your employees to, you know, spend, you know, wisely. So when it comes to expenses, making sure that they don't buy overstock so things go bad, or make sure they don't buy the expensive stuff. Like they can buy a cheaper version of the garbage bags, say for instance, and save some money so that your profit margin's greater. And then they, at the end of the month or every quarter, they get rewarded, and all the staff split, say that 5% of the profit.
yeah,
But anything that gets broken or any like negligence like that comes out of that fund.
yeah.
So you're not actually taking it directly out of their pay. You're taking it out of a
The
reward
bonus.
or a bonus that would be given to them for their performance. So like you, part of the reward, like there's consequences, good and bad in life. So the same thing, there's a 5% consequence, good consequence if you guys do well, and then the bad stuff comes out of that 5%. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's complicated learning business in a new country, with new mentalities and different problems, um, that we have in Canada. But it's all just kind of sorting through that and trying to figure out. Most of the time, I think like I was frustrated with a couple things today. I know you were as well, and I was thinking to myself like, you know what? I wonder. Let's not be frustrated with them. Let's be frustrated with ourselves and how like the training's going, the manuals are going, like how inadequate our training has been,
Hmm.
and like that we could do better as a management team instead of just pointing fingers, right? Like that's all about
Yeah, well,
oh
the pressure's not on when things are going really well.
yeah.
Like, you don't learn as much when you're winning as when you're losing.
Yeah, so I
For
think it's
sure.
up to us to do better
Yeah.
and to be able to empower and provide more information for our staff. Sometimes it's easy to be like,
Well,
I'm
we're,
so upset.
yeah, I was like, you know, things aren't going well. It's like, okay, so let's put our business admin officer, Sam, in the shop all week next week
Yeah,
to be, to just be there hovering, being a shadow basically, and
yeah,
have, and just seeing everything that everybody does and making notes
yeah.
about what processes, what things need to be turned into processes.
And I just told him, I was talking to him today, I was like, just be annoying.
Yeah.
Ask everybody about every little thing. And he's like, yes, I can't wait to be
And guys, this is
so.
not about like creating like a big book that nobody ever looks at.
Yeah,
What this would allow you to do would be, how would I put this? Like what you could do is you could create an online training program that your staff could complete, and as they complete different modules, that would qualify them for a different pay structure. So say you do like the entry level, like before you start afresh, that qualifies you for whatever the entry level wage is. And if you take the next module of whatever it is, how to make pizza, then once you've completed that module and you've been tested and you show that like, you understand it, you get to go into the next pay structure. And so these processes aren't just put in a book. Like lots of people think, oh, it's easy to put it in a book, it's harder to implement it. It's like, yeah, but once people have shown that they have the diligence to go through the processes on their own time, then they can be rewarded for that and they become a more valuable member of the team.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think moving on from business.
Boring.
Yeah, me. I woke up this last week. I was sleeping somewhere else than our house.
Whoa. Hey,
What? I had to crash at the office. I was there late.
Okay. All right.
Anyway,
Sounds bad, but
I
okay.
don't want to say it. Anyway, I literally don't have a bug net there, and I woke up with this like little tickle on like the part of my head, like the part of my hair to my scalp, and I like reached up in the middle of my sleep because I was like, what is that? Like just in the daze, and then all of a sudden I like put my hand up there, and it was a cockroach, like a giant
Stephanie
cockroach
had a cockroach crawling
tickling
on her
my
head.
scalp. It wasn't just crawling on my head. It was like sniffing my scalp. Like it was like in there, like a dirty sock. It was so gross. And then I grabbed it and
That doesn't make any sense what you just said. The cockroach was up there sniffing your hair. So
Yeah.
we don't know if cockroaches sniff or not. And also,
they do. They have like these little
in there-
tentacles at the top and they're
hey,
like.
guys. Get this.
That's what I mean.
You'll never hear this ever again. The cockroach was in there like a dirty sock.
I don't know. It's a saying. Like, you know? Like.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear it all the time. Oh yeah, she was in there like a dirty sock. Yeah.
It is a saying. Okay, anyone back in Canada,
How far
comment and be
man.
like, it's a saying. Validate
How
me.
far in there were you? I was in there like a dirty sock,
Yeah,
bro.
people say that.
Really?
Yes,
I've
they do.
Never heard it.
All right.
Never
Well,
heard it.
you're from Saskatchewan, so you can just take your bunny hug. That's what they call sweaters with a hood.
How many people were in the vehicle? We were packed in there like a dirty sock.
No, that's not. That does not. That does not mean tight. It means like. Have you ever? I think what it means is like. Have you ever like taken a good whiff of a dirty sock and you're like, woo, you're in there like a dirty sock. It's gross. I don't know.
That is so stupid, man. That is dumb.
That's what I think it means.
Moving on.
Anyway, I grabbed the cockroach from my head. I threw it onto the wall, and I screamed. I'm gonna use another term, like a banshee. I freaking, and then I turned on the light and I killed the cockroach with my bare hand. I just slapped it dead. I was just volleyball slapped the heck out of that thing. Boom! And then guts everywhere, and I was just having a mental breakdown. And I'm sure the people that live next door were like, "What the heck is happening there?" Nobody came to rescue me. I'm gonna say that. Nobody came and knocked on the door. It was like, someone's attacking you. Are you dying? Are you okay? Because I was freaking, just freaking kill it. Then I died. And then do you know what happened to me? I left the dead body of the cockroach there because I'm terrified of it. And then I left the office and I didn't come back for 2 days. And then I came back to put Seven Eye there for
You didn't go back to sleep?
Oh, no, sorry. I did. Well, okay. Rewind. Went back to sleep. Took the Sulu, which is just like a piece of material.
And just went to sleep like a dirty sock.
Yeah. And then I wrapped my face. Like I took a blanket, wrapped my lower half. I took the Sulu and covered my face and my arms like a mummy. Like I was under suffocating.
Like a dirty sock?
I could barely breathe. It was a dirty sock. It was not the best smelling thing of my life.
Dirty.
And then I barely breathed all night and was just panicking, hyperventilating under this blanket. 'Cause I was like, if the cockroach comes and gets me again, I'm just going to die. It's like actually my personal nightmare come true. Like cockroach on my head? Hell no. No, that's not okay.
That's what you get for sleeping at the office, people. Come home to your family at night.
Yeah,
Right?
we're not going to do that again. That was a bad life choice. Like that was.
I agree.
Anyway, no, so there's more to the story.
Oh.
So I come back with Seven Eye a couple days later, and then I step in something, which is, I swear it must be the dead cockroach body. And then I'm like, ew, what is that? And then I sniff my hand. It smells like poop.
Like
And
dirty socks.
It's like dirty socks. And I was just like gagging, and I threw up in the sink. And Seven
You
Eye's
threw
like,
up?
I threw up. Seven Eye's like, are you okay, Mom? And I was just vomiting. And it was just this dramatic trauma. Like, I was just traumatized. And I'm like, I just hate everything.
You guys gotta come to the office one day.
Yeah, you can just see me react to
Disgusting.
my reality in Fiji. It was like just all sides of the nightmare. The reality and the dead body, stepping in it. It's not okay. You were lucky the other day. What happened to you the other day? You had a huge spider in our netting. Remember how you were telling me?
Dude.
Okay, Jon is terrified of spiders.
He was in there
Cockroaches
like
are for me, Jon's spiders.
Dirty sock. Yeah, I got out of bed to go to the washroom, and then just like the net was on top the whole night, or like the whole evening. We were just chilling.
Bad idea, everybody.
We were just
Bad idea.
talking, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I went to use the washroom. Came back. No, you weren't there.
I wasn't there.
Maybe you were out there getting chewed on by cockroaches. And then I came back.
Same night.
And I see this huge freaking spider just crawling on the net. And I'm like, dude, that looks like it's inside the net. And I came around to my side. I was like, oh, it's definitely inside the net. So what did I do? Anyways, it's kind of hard to smack it out of the net, but I just had to. I did it in a way that, anyways, it died and it landed outside the bed.
Just ninja skills over
But
there.
like, moral of the story is that I've been very faithful at tucking in the net.
Yeah, and I've been telling him this
week.
for years.
Yeah.
Like, tuck your net in. You don't want to wake up with something.
Dude, if I was laying in the bed and I was just like chilling there and I just saw this spider crawling up the inside of the net, I would have been out of there like a dirty sock.
Okay, let's go. Let's rewind to your past. Why do you have a fear of spiders, John?
I don't actually know why exactly.
I know why. I know exactly why. I can pinpoint the moment in your childhood.
You weren't even there though.
Doesn't matter. I've heard the stories.
Okay, tell the story then.
Okay, John's mom tells a story. She told me a story about John as a kid and that he was scared of spiders and that there's like this mama spider with a baby like egg sac on its back.
Yeah, spiders carry around, or in Fiji at least, the spiders have this white egg sac.
And then it like went into the room with John and she sprayed it with morphine, which is like a bug spray poison thing. And it exploded with all the baby spiders.
Yeah, they released the spiders, yeah.
Into the room where John was, and she shut the door on him to apparently teach him a lesson about
Mom,
don't be scared of spiders. And John's like, I don't know why I'm scared of spiders. I'm like, probably because you're traumatized from all those baby spiders coming at you.
Oh, I can still remember like sleeping. We used to live in Nadi in Fiji, which is where the international airport is. I remember sleeping, and we didn't have mosquito nets. I just had a sleeping bag that I slept in.
Really?
Yeah.
There?
Dude.
I
don't even know how. I crawled
You guys were in the bush.
in the sleeping bag every night.
If you guys think we're in the bush, that was a bush.
No, it's really not. It's
Dude, I've seen
15
that place.
minutes maybe outside of the town.
Yeah,
city.
you still had like...
Anyways, I just remember like one night laying in bed, and I remember you could literally like hear like...
I don't know. You're making
like as the
you're
cockroach...
making a motion with your hand, but I don't think like...
No, you could just hear like the cockroach like crawling down the wall. And I could like... It was like a full moon, and we had no curtains.
No.
And you could just see like a shadow. It's like...
Ah!
And my bed was right against the wall, and I was like in my sleeping bag. I'm like...
It's actually killing me right now.
And I was like, oh gosh. So nothing can be as bad as that.
Okay, so John's mom told me she used to have this fear of moths.
What is this, Roast John's Mom podcast?
Your mom's great.
Yeah,
Don't
I agree.
worry about it.
Thank you
It's
for
just
clarifying.
Stories. So your mom told me she used to be scared of moths, and she told me.
Oh yeah, my mom's epic like this.
Your mother's a champion.
Yeah.
So she told me she's like, yeah, I just told myself I had to be over my fear of moths, and I just decided I was not going to be scared anymore, and then I wasn't scared, which is true for her. And I always thought that was like a lot of like hooey. Like I was like, yeah, that's not a thing. You can't just tell yourself to get over it. And then when we moved to Fiji, and my biggest fear is being stuck in the toilet with a cockroach running in there. And I had a few times like the first month we lived here, like I would just like try to go like the washroom in the middle of the night, and I'd like start crying because I'd be so scared of the cockroaches. And then I just decided, I was like, okay, I need to be like Judy. Like, I just need to tell myself, like, you cannot be scared anymore. So I've kind of turned into, like...
Mind over matter?
No, I haven't quite got there. Like
David Goggins?
I'm still fearful of cockroaches, but I've gone from, like, I'm going to be scared of them. No, I am a cockroach murderer.
Right.
I just have to kill them, and then I'm fine. If they can die, then I can relax. So... There's been a few nights, not going to lie, that I've spent like 2 hours hunting down a cockroach, and John just given up on me as a human being and went to bed because I have to kill it. But
I got a thought.
It's just the process.
Random thought. Can I take my motorcycle this weekend?
No, you may not. Yeah, life problems.
We're going over to a friend's house for an evening maybe this weekend.
John's always trying to drag his motorcycle around. Like, what do you think? Like, we have all the time in the world just to relax, and you're just gonna go out for a joyride?
There's nothing like going for a joyride. You feel the wind
in the middle of the
hair.
week, instead of cleaning your louvers, just go for a joyride.
Dude, these louvers are clean though. You ain't never seen louvers like this. Streaks.
You never seen a housewife like John.
You know what the boys used to call me?
What?
No streaks, and they weren't talking about my undies.
Ew. Okay.
They're talking about my louvers.
I will say, John's a little obsessive. Like, our friends, Jon and Steph in Canada, they can vouch for this. Like, a couple times we were in Canada. Not couple times. We were in Canada having them over for dinner. And John's just this weirdo because he notices streaks on our glass windows. Instead of hanging out with our friends, he's out there, like, window washing.
Dude, I never really lived that down.
No, because we're all like, hey, dude, not cool. Hang out with your friends. Don't worry about the windows.
But the windows are dirty.
Yeah, and...
Yeah, but I have a tendency to scare people away. I remember that one time I prayed for people.
One time we're at church and we invite this new family that was there. We're trying to be like so kind to them and be like, come.
Dude, John just felt the moving of the spirit.
Come to our house for lunch. And then John just decides to have like this like prayer session. Not like, he's not like crazy, but he was like, I just think, just like.
No, okay. Let's be clear. It was our first time having them over and they start like whispering or like talking to each other. It's like, yeah, did you hear that so-and-so committed suicide? And like I heard them talking.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was something.
No, it wasn't that intense.
It was something very similar. Or somebody was super sick. Wow, I just got real dark with this. But making up, maybe. Let's go with the story. It was really, really sad and dark.
It was sad. I remember it was sad.
And they were talking about it. And I was like, I don't know. They were in church. I was like, hey, let's just pray about it. Let's pray about it. And so let's just sit down and pray about it. And I never saw him again after that lunch.
Yeah, they definitely ran away.
Yeah.
They were like, John's way too intense.
Yeah.
What a psycho.
It's the last time I ever prayed for anybody.
No. But I definitely was like, hey, honey, maybe next time just like ask them if it's cool with them or like feel the room a little bit more.
Yeah, I wasn't like feel the room. I was like, hey, we need to take this to Jesus.
I think it's good. Good or bad.
Yeah.
I think it was like good.
What do you guys think listening to this? Maybe it's just too much,
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I kind of was like, you know what? Maybe you should chill a little bit, but at the same time, if you felt it, you felt it. So I think it is what it is.
You got invited to be one of the chief guests, You could sit beside the Prime Minister this Sunday.
Oh, well, that would have been nice to meet him, but we're not around this Sunday, so.
Unfortunately.
I think we just have to move on. And I don't think that was actually true. I think someone was just lying to you to make money from you.
Well, they wanted to raise money for his party. And so.
Yeah, but we have also agreed not to be political.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, I just know like politics is like it's like the flavor of the day. Like depending on who's in power, it's like that's what's okay at the moment. And yeah, I don't know. I voted for who I voted for. And yeah, I mean, I don't really know. I don't know what advantage we get from taking sides in a political manner. Because there's things that I agree with. Like I said, when the voting was taking place, like the party I voted for even, like there's things I don't agree with. That's why I'm like, I don't get behind it because like there's things that they say and there's people in the party that have said things since that I don't agree with even.
Well, it's very rare. Actually, it's...
And like, how can you? How can you have a...
impossible to fully agree with someone 100%. Like, me and you have been married for a long time. We are like 95% on the same page in life about everything. But there's always going to be 5% that we disagree about.
Yeah.
You like to wash your vehicle so very often. And
I do not. I washed it. I didn't even wash it today. Washed it yesterday.
You can't always agree with everybody, right?
Right.
I like peanut butter curry.
Wow,
this is a bit of a tang. Yeah, you're not there. You're not in.
This is so not close to politics or anything that's important in life.
Well, the important things in life, John and I agree on. So it's the little things.
Anyways, I missed out on the chance of a lifetime Sit beside the Prime Minister.
Well, I think he seems like a cool guy. I like his social media.
No, dude, his social media team is dope AF. They got it going on. They know what they're doing with his profile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he seems like a nice guy. I'm not like into politics a lot, so I kind of also, I'm out. So.
You guys got yelled at when you went to the school this week?
Yeah, well, yeah, mildly.
But you weren't in the school compound, were you?
It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
I didn't even know.
Maybe there's just
we were getting food. There was a big sports event. We were just gonna film like a mild blog. Like
this is the season of athletics in all the schools across Fiji, and so in Sanganga, I think in this area there's 13 schools, and so the school that our kids go to has the biggest grounds, which is like the fields for out of any of the schools in this whole area.
Yeah.
So the 13 schools all met at our kids' school for their athletics like zone competition for this whole area.
Yeah, and I was like
so it's busy.
Talking to Tui, our content manager, and we're like, okay, we should do a vlog today. And I'm never really in the vlogs. Like, I don't really do them. So I was like, okay, thinking to myself, like, I'm going to actually do it today. I'm just going to go through it and just like do it instead of John. And then, so we're filming, and I didn't really realize like how much he was filming. I just ignore him and just try to go about what I'm doing because I feel uncomfortable if I like focus on him. And we were just getting food and juice. And then when we were getting juice, one of the teachers was like, don't film me. Like, I am not happy to be on film. And then I just shriveled. I was like, oh.
Like a dirty sock.
A raunchy, dirty, crusty sock.
Dude.
I just died. I was like, I don't think we should do this. Like, I don't actually want to have any issues with the teachers. I like them here. And then I was kind of panicking a little bit. Like,
I mean, like you guys weren't filming him. Like you were just like filming him. Like he just happened to be in the shot that you were taking. And it wasn't like you guys were filming like a documentary. Like it's like our vlogs. Like we're just documenting what we're doing.
Yeah.
And like the boys, there was no official school on Thursday because there was this huge athletics meet.
Correct.
And the boys were like, we really want to go because they're going to have like a palau lunch with like, what was Leaky talking about?
Delicious.
The
sausage and eggs.
Oh, is that what they had?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the boys were stoked. So like they didn't go to school, but we took them to school at the lunch hour. And we're like, hey, this is cool. Like this is part of life in Fiji, like athletic meets and
it
stuff
was
like
a
that. Let's video it.
really neat event. So I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get to share that with everybody.
And trust me, guys, like we get it. We don't film like inside the school compounds. You never see us go inside of like the school compound and like start filming unless we ever had permission or requested to. But, like when we dropped the kids off, like we filmed them outside. But this whole thing was happening outside of the school grounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, but whatever, you know. Haters gonna hate. Dirty sock's gonna dirty sock.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
okay,
how about that stupid huge eel that we got? 2 eels in the village this week.
It makes me nervous about swimming in the river. I don't like looking at the eels.
If you're a skinny woman, it's the size of your upper leg. If you're not a skinny man, if you're a normal man, then it'd be the size of your calf. Like huge eels. Huge.
Yeah.
Enough to for the whole village to have some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good.
And then I'm like, okay, going like where we have our river, like our swimming area, I don't know why. I just in my mind tell myself there's no eels there. Like I know there's small ones. I've definitely seen those. And then I just pretend that like up in the big pools, that's where they catch the big ones.
So the one that Tabeni caught yesterday,
okay,
one of my uncles who's from another village. It's not actually the uncle that, if you guys go to our Facebook page, you'll see on, what's the date today? May 5th, the post of the eel that they caught. But it wasn't my uncle who was holding he's going to get all the credit. I already see so many people tagging him on Facebook in it.
Yeah, but he could catch that. He just has a big foot injury.
Yeah. But anyways,
he's a great
the uncle who actually did catch it, he was using his big, because he has this, I don't know if it's like, I think in Fijian they call it like a soli soli or something like this. Like you're, like when you have like a gift that's been like your spiritual gift or like a gift in your family that's been like passed down like through generations.
Okay.
And so like I don't know, I could be wrong on this, but he definitely has a weird gift or weird skill, and his ability to find huge eel in the river and to be able to actually like target them and get them. I don't know what it is. I haven't ever seen it before. And there's other people like him, but he was just like, this case was the weirdest one. They were walking up the river to go to a big pool to go get fish or other eel. And he was using his big spear as a walking stick.
Mm.
And he put it down and he poked the eel in the head, like inside the mud.
No freaking way.
Yeah. He was just like walking. He like stabbed it into the ground and stabbed the eel right on the back of the head. I'm not joking.
I don't know if I believe you.
Well,
Well, that's what they say, but
I don't know.
come on.
He's got skills like a dirty sock. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, let it go. Okay, so you said he has skills.
Yeah.
So, like, he has eel skills, and some people have healing skills and
Right.
massage skills and different things like that. Like,
I don't really know if I want to get into this, though. You know?
Oh, John's all in for the politics, but he's not in for the reality.
Ooh.
Just remember it, people. Just remember you heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
Yeah. Why are you scared to talk about this? You feel like it's too sensitive? Like you feel like politics
No, let's
is
go.
like...
Let's go. I'm ready. I'm ready like a dirty sock. Let's do this.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so when we first moved here, I think I've talked about my terrible ear infection that I had when we first moved here.
Oh, yeah, right.
It lasted like 5 weeks. COVID, I couldn't get the medication I needed. I thought I was going to go deaf. And then finally I got it treated when the islands opened up. But during that time, everybody was telling me that I should have a certain auntie stick her finger in my ear.
Mm-hmm.
And that she would be able to like rub my ear and it would be healed.
Mm.
And I was like, heck to the no, that will never happen. Keep your finger out of my ear, please.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first impression with it. And I would say that was like a interesting introduction to like the culture of massage or personal healing powers. And my first question was, don't stop laughing, you guys. I know it sounds weird, but this is a real thing. So we're going to talk about it. My first question was like, so where do you feel like these powers or like these like healing properties that you have come from? What? Just silence in the background? Is this a struggle bus talking about this?
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. I'm ready.
So what do you think?
Well, I think if you can't acknowledge where you get your gifts from, or if you don't know and you don't say like it's a spiritual gifting or something, then I just don't really want any part of it. Yeah. Because like,
and that's where we've landed.
Yeah. If you're like clearly like, hey, this is like God given, and like without, before I knew him, I didn't have this, and like after knowing him, like, you know, like this is something that I realized that like, you know, I can use, or you know, I don't even know if that's accurate, but I think giving credit for supernatural abilities to the only person who is supernatural is important to me. And if you can't credit the supernatural, the maker of the supernatural with those abilities, then like, I don't know, I just don't want any part of it myself. Yeah. I'm not gonna judge anybody. Like I just,
that's
like,
definitely how I feel. Like I was like, okay, if you would straight up, if I asked you where this came from and you were like, oh, like Jesus gave me these healing abilities, I could probably be swayed if I saw that, you know, this was actually in work and in motion and I saw the evidence of it with my own eyes. Because I do feel like people do have spiritual healing gifts, but is it a spiritual healing gift from God, or is it something that I don't want to be involved in? And so I'm kind of like, I'm more cautious. Like if I ask you and you don't have a straight up answer that this is from Jesus, this is from God, get me away from it, because I'm not dabbling in that.
Yeah, I get it. And like the spiritual world is real for sure. Like spiritual things are real. Like I've talked to people I trust very, very much who have had, say, like massage or something. Like they've had like an actual broken limb or like a sprained ankle or like something really bad where they couldn't walk. They go to somebody. It's actually healed in like a very weird, quick manner. And so I'm not,
Completely knocking it.
like it's not that it's not real. It's just like, where does the power come from? And where do you open yourself up to being susceptible to the supernatural? Because it's not just good. There is good and evil.
Yeah.
So,
And
pick and choose.
yeah, I wasn't allowing anybody to put their finger in my ear. I'll just leave it at that, maybe.
Yeah, that's good.
I think for tonight, we're just talking about, earlier, just talking about what we've learned biblically this week. We went to church this week, and the boys have a great Sunday school. They're really enjoying it right now. And I was laughing at Eliki, our oldest. He told the Sunday school teacher, she was saying, can you memorize this Sunday school verse? And he told her, no, I'm too busy. And I was like, oh no.
Get out.
I was like, what? Excuse me? What do you mean you're too busy?
Answers from overseas.
I was like, oh no. I was like, I have to check myself because maybe he's getting that from me or I'm getting that from John. You know?
Maybe.
Kids hear that like, oh, I don't have time. I'm too busy. That's what he told this teacher. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's something he's like taking from us. Must be. Has to be. I don't see where else he'd get it from. But he's pretty witty, so he's pretty with it. What did you learn this week?
Well, I'll just talk about what I was reading through today. It was in 1 Corinthians. And what chapter is this? 1 Corinthians chapter 5. Verse 6. Actually, I think this is chapter 6 here. But instead, one brother... So... This is talking about like how the Christians are handling like disputes among themselves. But instead, one brother goes to the law against another. And this is in front of unbelievers. The very fact that you have lawsuits among you means that you have been completely defeated already. Why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be cheated? Instead, you yourselves cheat and do wrong, and you do this to your brothers. And so... I was talking to somebody about this and just like how people will go to the, how we are like, oh, I'll report you to the police, or hey, I'll, take you to court, or how I was recently reported to the police, and how that's just really just like an embarrassment to people outside of Christianity. And so I think it's important that we would rather just figure these things out and before we have to take it to that level. And so I think it's important for me to like the reason that this hit home today is because like it's something that I've experienced recently, and it's also something that I continue to experience because I'm like, oh, I'll take you to the law, and it's like, why not rather be wronged? Why not rather be cheated? And so instead of like embarrassing people who share the same faith as you, it's like, let's figure this out amongst each other until we go and make it a public scene, basically.
In church they were reading in Psalms this week 51:16 to 17, and something that I do sometimes when I'm reading the verses that they're quoting in church is I normally use the NIV version. I always have a Bible app that I'm using. And then I'll go to the Message, which I don't think is actual a biblical text. I feel like it's a biblical translator.
You don't trust Eugene Peterson?
I think it's like a good way of like...
I say it's a paraphrase, not a translation.
Yeah, it's a paraphrase. It's kind of like another way to look at it. It's a something that you can look at and go, okay, does this actually match up, and is this just a new way of phrasing it? Anyway, this verse was saying, going through the motions doesn't please you. It's talking to God. A flawless performance is nothing to you. I learned God worship when my pride was shattered. Heart-shattered lives ready for love don't for a moment escape God's notice. So when I read it, I was like, oh, yeah, like,
Dude, the message just hits
it hits better
so
to me.
hard
Like, I'm like,
sometimes. Yeah.
sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, that feels true. Like, don't go through the motions. Like, your flawlessness, your perfection
What does it
doesn't,
say about a heart shattered?
well, just wait. Your perfection doesn't please God. Like,
Mm.
it's nothing to you. That's what it says.
Mm.
And then it says, I learned my God worship when my pride was shattered.
I learned my God worship when my pride was shattered.
Yeah, like when I actually like had my pride
Mic drop.
shattered, and heart shattered lives ready for love don't for a moment escape God's notice. So people who have their heart shattered, their lives are ready for love.
Basically people who have acknowledged that they are full of pride
Yeah,
and have given up their hearts.
like they're so broken
Yeah.
that they're ready to be loved. God notices and is ready to love them back. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that speaks to me. That's beautiful. And sometimes when you read biblical text, it feels way more complicated than that. So I like using the message to kind of just bring it down to earth to me to go, oh, I can connect with that. Like, interesting how, like, my perfection doesn't speak to God, but my broken shatteredness connects with him. He sees me. He knows that he can connect with me on that level.
Well, because it's like useless for you to say like your perfection could speak to him because you're not perfect.
Yeah.
So like,
exactly.
like, of course it's not going to speak to him because you're not, even though you feel like you might be.
Yeah, like you strive to be perfect, but you'll never be. So don't worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I just thought that was beautiful. I made a picture on my Bible app and everything. So.
I'll read everybody an art. It's just really, really short. Just a little thing that my mom sent to me today. Because I've also, so kind of on my note, I've felt like I've been, I've seen this a few times this week. And so I feel like in the Bible, when you hear God, when you hear some of the same thing repeated multiple times, you should take notice of it. And so in the same way, I've heard this a few times this week, and so I've taken notice of it. And my mom sent this to me today. It goes like this. You're holding a cup of coffee when someone comes along and bumps into you or shakes your arm, making you spill your coffee everywhere. Why did you spill your coffee? Because someone bumped me, you say. Wrong answer. You spilled the coffee because there was coffee in your cup. Had there been tea in your cup, you would have spilled tea. Whatever is inside the cup is what will spill out. Therefore, when life comes along and shakes you, which will happen, whatever is inside you will come out, and it's easy to fake it until you get rattled. So we have to ask ourselves, what's in my cup? When life gets tough, what spills over? Joy, gratitude, peace, and humility, or anger, bitterness, victim mentality, and quitting tendencies? Life provides the cup. You choose how to fill it. Today, let's work towards filling our cups with gratitude, forgiveness, joy, words of affirmation, resilience, positivity, and kindness, gentleness, and love for others. And I was like, yeah. I mean, the analogy is awesome and it totally makes sense. But I'm like, yeah, what's been going into my cup lately? As far as like, what am I consuming on social media? What is the language that's coming out of my mouth when I'm frustrated? You know?
Yeah.
And that might be a reflection of like actually what's in my heart at the time, you know? So.
Yeah. Well, even like our children, my kids have learned to swear at a very young age because of, their small uncles and the kids around here when they're learning English. A lot of it's from movies. And so I think it's just going to naturally, that's what they think is in the English language. And we've really had to work on them not. And they're constantly at school coming home and saying, Mom, my friend, he said this bad word. And they always like to repeat the words, obviously. And I was just like, have a hard time with it as a mother. And they're so young. I'm like, I can't believe you're saying these words, but this is what you're surrounded with. And like, your words have some power, but it's more of, how are we reflecting Jesus through the words that we're using out loud. And I just laugh because, our oldest, obviously he's a better grasp of language and stuff. And he always says to me, he's very open and honest with us. Oh, Mom, I almost said a bad word. I almost swore. And I'm like, oh, okay. So why is that always on the top of your mind? Like, why is that so close to coming out of your mouth? We were talking about this, and he's 6 years old, and he's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm thinking that's probably because that's what he's consuming all day at school. The kids at school, and just so you guys know, I'm going to say this out loud. But this is funny to me because in the Fijian with the accent, they say like effing A, so they say fukunas.
Fukunas.
And I didn't know what that was when I first moved here. My youngest was saying it all the time, and
Fukunas.
I thought it was actually a Fijian word, and I was just ignoring him because I was like, I don't know what he's saying. But yeah, anyway, it's obviously not a great word. And I was just kind of laughing because he's always hearing that every day at school, and I'm like, oh wow, what you consume is what you like filter through your mind all the time. And my oldest is always saying to me, Mom, I almost said a bad word. And I'm like, man, that's always at the top of your mind because that's what you hear at school all day. It's what you hear from your cousins all the time. And for a while I could ignore it because I thought it was not an English word, but now I know better. It's just one of the challenges of English being a second language, and it's all right. I just told them, okay, we can't say this. It is not these are not the words that we want to use because we love Jesus and we want other people to see that we're different.
Okay, we're going to play the game now.
All right.
All right. Okay. We're done with that conversation like a dirty sock. So,
John's just avoiding reality over here. So he just wants to go into a more emotionally in-depth conversation with these card games.
Well, whatever. But, I mean, Seva came home today and he was like, hey, Dad, I think you said a bad word at school. I'm like, oh, yeah? He's like, yeah, he said fucking ass. I'm like, well, now you've said it, so you're both grounded. So, I don't know. What do you want me to do here? There's no proof it's one guy's word against the other.
This is John and I's daily life.
Yeah,
so
yeah, right.
We're just dealing with the swears.
You guys, no, none of that, please. If you hear anything, you're going to get the soap in the mouth treatment.
Yeah, and if you meet me in person, I'll tell you some worse stories, so you can ask about that.
Okay, so we play this game. It's a what's it called? It's a couples edition of We're Not Really Strangers. That's what it is. Yeah. And so this is a level 2 question. So this is a conversation starter game. And so basically it helps people. So there's friend editions where you can just play with friends and you guys can have meaningful conversation. This is the couples edition. And I think the next level from this is like the sex edition or something like that. But I don't go there. Not yet anyways.
Let's talk
and we definitely won't go there
with Let's talk about
just do that one on the podcast. Hey, when it comes to anyways, what immediately attracted you to me? What attracted you more over time? Yes. Speak to me, baby. I say initially, for me, obviously, it was that you're very attractive. That was initially such a dude. I was like, dang, who's this hot mom-looking person?
Which is also offensive at the same time. He definitely thought I was like old. Like
I don't know, dude. Obviously, I'm into older women. Whatever.
I'm like 2 years older than you. You thought I was like a hot mom.
I thought you were a hot mom. I'm like, who's this hot mom without any kids? You had like big hair. You like just strolled into church.
Heels on, big boots, big
black
hair.
eye. It's great.
Oh, black eye. Okay. That's a longer story, and I'll tell you one day.
Okay, well, we'll address the black eye the first time that I met Steph on the next podcast. Can we say that?
Okay. Tui, it's up to you to remember. We'll talk about this next week.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. And what attracted me to you over time, I think, was the fact I heard from everybody, Stephanie's so loyal. Your mom, loyalty. And then, it proved true. Like, I think initially, you're attracted by, oh, she's pretty or he's good looking. I like their personality. They're funny, all this kind of stuff. And then you hear things like, oh, they're loyal. And then you hear it from multiple people and then you experience loyalty and you're like, okay, I get it now. So I think your loyalty, I wouldn't say that that's like something I'm like, that is like the make or break thing. Because loyalty is obviously like a standard issue product in like a long-term relationship. Like it has to be. But like when I think over time, like in the first like year, it's like, okay, this is really a thing. Like her loyalty is like, it is like a very, very important part of your life. Not just to me, but to friends and everything like that. And then now obviously a lot of other things in its place as well. But
okay, read the question again so I answer it.
I've already put the card away.
Okay.
So let me find the card.
What was the first, I think, general...
What immediately attracted you to me? And then what attracted you to me over time? I'm ready. I'm ready. Let's go.
I don't even like my answer. I'm going to be honest.
Oh,
I
okay.
wish it was a better answer.
Hey, guys.
Okay, when I first met you, I didn't know what to think of you.
Wow.
Okay, this sounds really bad on my part.
What? No, this is not like what initially attracted.
I just have to explain it a little bit. Because when I saw you, I thought...
This is not about the downside, about like how you're confused. It's like, okay, so you were confused. You're confused that you met a dude in a skirt because I happened to wear a Sulu in Canada.
That's what threw me off. You were wearing a Sulu.
It's not about that. It's about what initially attracted you to me.
Just listen to me. Just listen. Okay?
No, just listen to me. Well, answer the question. Don't answer the question that's not there. What initially attracted you to me?
That you had such an incredible friend group.
Thank
that was
you.
Number one thing.
And what continued to, like, what just keeps being so awesome about me?
Well,
actually, that's not how the question goes, but you can answer that question.
Okay. So, number one thing for my attraction to you was I was looking for a man that had a friend group that loved Jesus, and you definitely had that.
Shout out to Kent and Travis.
Yeah, your boys.
My boys.
And then I think what just over time impressed me was how much you love Jesus. And I just have to be like, when I first met you, you were wearing a Sulu, which is weird in Canada. That I was like, okay, this guy's wearing a skirt. So number one, I was like, okay, don't know how I feel about that.
Guys, you just gotta make them
weird.
You just gotta do things and make them ask questions. You gotta stand out. And
then to be very blunt, like I've always been very attracted to men that are blonde hair, blue eyes, and so to go to
sounds like me, baby.
completely opposite. I was just
hey, girl.
I don't know how I feel about this, but I obviously find you very attractive physically. It just took me like a beat to be like, this is not typically like what I go for, but you're very good looking. But it was the skirt that really threw me for a loop.
I just tell everybody, just make yourself undeniable.
Yeah, guys, if you're in Canada, just like maybe like hold off on the Sulu for a few days. It'll go easier for you, maybe.
Guys.
Or don't, because I married this one. So.
Yeah, there you go. We love you guys. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you guys for joining us on this podcast.
Yeah,
it was also bought to...
Such good-looking husband.
It's brought to you guys by the coffee shop that we are trying to learn how to run, which is Fresh Tea and Coffee in Sanganga. Thank you, Fresh Tea and Coffee, for sponsoring this.
Oh, my God.
It's crazy how they chose to sponsor this podcast.
And this best-looking man in the world.
Best-looking man in the world with a skirt. We love you guys. Peace. We're out.